let's get into this. I think it's time that somebody finally had the guts to talk about what Guts is really about. Olivia Rodrigo is an extremely talented artist. I think that she's literally screaming to us what this album is about. She has said it is about her 19th year, and that is definitely the truth. Some things have happened over the last couple of years in her life that have influenced this album, and I think by now everyone is aware of the issue with Taylor Swift. People keep calling it a feud online. I don't know if I'd call it a feud, but things have definitely happened. Olivia bought out driver's license. It did amazing. I know she posted something regarding that and a Taylor Swift song that was at the top of the charts at the time. Taylor responded. I think Olivia was very excited, as you would be. I know that Taylor also supposedly sent a letter and a ring to Olivia. A couple of months later, once the album started doing extremely well, all of a sudden retrospective credits were added for Taylor Swift, Jack Antonoff, and I believe someone else as well. There were credits added, and I don't really understand why. I've listened to a lot of people talk about this in small amounts, and no one seems to understand why. Deja Vu is one of the songs in question. Supposedly the bridge is a little similar to Cruel Summer. I can kind of hear the similarity, but not in the sense that I think it should be credited. Taylor and Jack Antonoff definitely had nothing to do with the making of this album, and I find it a little bizarre, actually. I think it has definitely created some bad blood. Olivia has not said a lot about it. She purposely, very wisely, says nothing about it in interviews. She has nothing to gain by addressing this head on. However, she is a student of Taylor Swift. She's grown up listening to her. The influence that you hear in her music is not accidental. However, it's also not copying. It's just we're all influenced by what we hear, by what's around us. Life doesn't exist in a vacuum, and art isn't created in a vacuum. It's all inspired by something, and I believe it should be. I actually think the best art is art that has a bit more of a story, something that gives you a little bit of a throwback to maybe a different decade, maybe a certain song, a certain feeling, and then elaborates that on it in a new and interesting way. I think that's really interesting art, and I don't think that we should be discouraging that by accusing people of plagiarism just because something is a little influenced by something. Anyway, we're going to get into the lyrics of Guts. I think there are some things that Olivia is actually screaming at us, like quite literally screaming when it comes to Taylor Swift. However, there's also a lot of other things that have happened in her life in that time as well, and all of these have been an influence on what has created this music. Whatever is going on, the music is amazing, so I hope she's doing well, but yes, this album is amazing. Let's have a listen.
Light as a feather and as stiff as a board. I pay attention to things that most people ignore. And I'm alright with the movies that make jokes about senseless cruelty, that's for sure. And I am built like a mother in a total machine. And I make light of the darkness. I've got a sign in my motherfucking pocket, best believe. Yeah, you know me. I forgive and I forget. I know my age and I act like it. Like what you can't resist. I'm a perfect all-American.
I have to say, a lot of things have come to my head when I heard the phrase light as a feather, stiff as a board. The first was The Craft, you know.
Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
It's also the contrasting, this is mentioned a lot in this song, the contrasting of, you know, I'm light as a feather, but then I'm also stiff as a board, maybe dead weight. It's all these contrasting feelings that we get in this song, and indeed in this album. I think that's very typical of being 19 and just being young in general, I think. I'm alright with the movies that make jokes about senseless cruelty. Don't really get that much, unless it's got something to do with the jokes to do with her plagiarism, the accusations, and that she ended up having a cruel summer because of it. I don't know, maybe I'm reading way too much into that. But anyway, it's brilliant. And so is this next line, I'm built like a mother and a total machine. You know those lines where when someone sings it in concert and the crowd just screams it? They scream it back because they just relate to it so much, or for some reason it just slams. And I think it's an interesting turn of phrase. I'm built like a mother. Taylor's called mother a lot. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But then she mentions total machine, and as soon as I hear the word machine, I think of Big Machine Records or whatever it was that Taylor was a part of. I feel like that's actually mentioned in many different artists, or a number of artists' work. They sort of mention this machine, and I think they're kind of referencing the music industry as a whole, but also how Taylor Swift is said to be such an integral force of it, and so forth. So I can't hear the word machine without thinking that perhaps that line was intended to be something to do with her. I feel for every little issue I know just what you mean. Now, I am adamant that this is about Taylor Swift. Think about it. She's listened to every song that Taylor's ever wrote, and she's related to her. I think we all do. We get sucked into the story of either feeling like, oh, she's singing about something that I can relate to and I feel like that could be me, or Taylor is so good at writing songs that I couldn't relate to in a million years, but they make me feel for her. So yeah, I think it is inevitable that Olivia would probably feel that she gets Taylor, or she at least got Taylor. And I think her whole world's kind of turned upside down with this turn of events that's happened. She's trying to make light of the darkness. She's literally got the world in her pocket at the moment with this songwriting skills. I hope that she really is feeling herself when she says she's got sunshine in her motherfucking pocket. I think we love that line, and yeah, I hope that she does. See, she says stuff that other people wouldn't. Okay, I can't sing. But anyway, this is where I think it's not a mystery. She's screaming it at us. I forgive and I forget. Am I the only one that remembers the Taylor Swift interview where she says you do not have to forgive and forget? It's part of Taylor's mantra, really. It's part of who she is, and I think she has made a career out of getting everybody else involved in her vendettas against whatever man has wronged her or whatever record label has wronged her. So yeah, it's interesting that I think Olivia is kind of trying to set herself apart. She forgives and she forgets. She knows her age and she acts like it. She's not 19, dating a 32-year-old. So yeah, she's got class and integrity just like a goddamn Kennedy. Who was Taylor dating early on? Was it a Kennedy? I think it was. And Olivia has love to spare. I think it really perplexes her that all she's done is create good music. She's had an idol that she thought created great music as well, and she was influenced a little. When she was called out about it, she instantly gave Taylor all the credit in the world, and still she cops a lot of flack online for plagiarism. I know Paramore jumped on the bandwagon and also claimed some rights to something, even though I think it was Hayley Williams came out and said that she didn't really get it. So I feel like it was a little bit behind the scenes, but then Taylor Swift is the head of her team. There is no one above her, so I don't know what she was thinking, accepting or asking for any credit. I think the interpolation perhaps of New Year's Day, that was a little more contentious, but I believe Olivia had permission for that, so I would like to know the real tea on it.
I'm a perfect all-American bitch, and perfect all-American hips. I know my place, and this is it. I don't get angry when I'm pissed.
That change, how she switches from those notes, it's just beautiful. She's such a talented singer.
All the time, I'm grateful all the time. I'm sexy and I'm kind. I'm pretty when I cry.
Oh, and that transition. This bridge, I think, is where it gets really interesting. I don't get angry when I'm pissed. Like, she's screaming it, so she's kind of angry. But she's trying not to be. She's trying to be the eternal optimist. And she's doing, I think, what most young people do instead of dealing with it on the outside because, you know, that's embarrassing. We scream on the inside. And I love the scream as well. I think it's so angsty. It's so... Oh, it just reminds me of the 90s and early 2000s and teenage angst, and she just does it so well. All the time, I'm grateful all the time. I think this is what she feels. I think she feels like no matter what, like she's had this great success, she just has to be really, really grateful for everything that she's got, and I think she is. But at the same time, like, she's trying to acknowledge that, you know, these things have happened in her life. She has feelings about them. She's allowed to have feelings about them. And she, I don't think, is allowed to address them in public. However, through the music, she can deal with it however way she likes. And I think she deals with it in a number of ways in this album. I'm sexy and I'm kind. I'm pretty when I cry. I kind of feel like this whole album is Olivia crying. And it's brilliant. It's so pretty. So I don't know. I just think this writing works on so many levels. And I think that brilliant writing does. I can relate it to myself. I can kind of see perhaps what's going on in her life. I can understand from a young person's point of view how they could latch onto this and just, it's an anthem. It absolutely slaps. I'm grateful all the fucking time. Yeah. I think she has to be. But anyway, let's move on to Bad Idea.
Bad idea, right?
Oh my god, I literally just heard that. This is the one song that I thought had absolutely nothing to do with Taylor Swift. And then I just listened again and I'm hearing, can two people reconnect? And like, I know they were never best friends, but like, I kind of feel like this whole album is kind of Olivia wondering, like, I'm angry and stuff's happened and I think that you were a little bit mean and whatnot, but like, I still want to be friends and I still want you to like me, and can two people reconnect?
I'm getting in the car, wrecking all my plans. I know I should stop, but I can't. I told my friends it was asleep, but I never said where. In his jeans. I pull up to your place on the second floor. I'm sure I've seen much hotter men, but I really can't remember when. My brain goes, oh, can't hit my phone. I didn't like you. I should probably not see you tonight. It's a bad idea, right? See you tonight. It's a bad idea, right? It's a bad idea, right? See you tonight. Fuck it, it's fine. Yes, I know that he.
I also just heard something else. I can't help but to wonder if this song might have been have another double meaning, and that, like, was she recording this album and thinking, is this not subtle enough? Is this a bad idea, right? Like, putting out an album and people might interpret it as taking a swing at the Queen. Let's keep going. Even if it is a bad idea, I can't stop.
Can two people reconnect? I only see him as a friend. Biggest lie I ever said. Biggest lie I ever said.
Can we just talk about that guitar riff? Seriously. Taylor, this is what I'm missing, like that hardcore guitar that I love. I think there's two main things that I love about a good song. It's the sound and it's the lyrics. I think that's why I've gravitated towards Taylor Swift, and that's why Olivia Rodrigo is quickly becoming one of my favorite artists. I think she is a brilliant songwriter. Although her songwriting is diaristic, it also has this kind of mass appeal. It's not so diaristic that you need to understand everything about her life to hear it, relate to it in your own way, and appreciate it. The sound is incredible, and I hope we hear more of it. I think it's brilliant. Next up we have Vampire. And so this is where it really starts. This is the first single on the album, the first thing that everyone started relating to Taylor Swift. I thought it was interesting how Olivia came out and said she didn't really understand why people correlated the lyrics to Taylor Swift, and I think she was quietly actually giggling to herself, thinking they got it. That's what I think.
Hate to give the satisfaction asking how you're doing now. How's the castle built of people you pretend to care about? Just what you wanted. Look at you, cool guy, you got it. Sons of torture you sold to some forbidden paradise. I loved you truly. You gotta laugh at the stupidity. I should have known it was strange. You only come out at night. I used to think I was smart, but you made me so naive. The way you sold me for cars. Sucker, fame fucker, bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire.
I love that feeling inside the heartbeat.
Every girl I ever talked to told me you were bad news. You called them crazy. God, I
The
hate
anxiety's
God, I call
building.
them crazy too. You're so convincing. How do you lie without flinching? Ooh, what a mesmerizing, paralyzing, fucked up little thrill. Can't figure out just how you do it, and God knows I never will. And for me and not her, 'cause girls your age know better. Sucker, fame fucker, bleed me dry like a goddamn vampire.
Oh, just hits so hard. I think this is an absolutely brilliant song. I think from the gothic instrumental that started it through to the bridge, it is just an incredible song. Totally mass market. I can't emphasize enough how evolved the sound of this album is for a sophomore album. Even her original debut album, Sour, incredible. So developed and mature. I know it's probably not all Olivia. Her production team will have a lot to do with this as well, but it is quite an incredible package. How's the castle built of people you pretend to care about? I mean, no one can even deny that. I mean, Taylor's written songs herself about how she feels like her castles are crumbling down. I think it was interesting in the start of Taylor's career. It was all about, the men had walls up that she was trying to break down, and now she's built this castle around herself and these walls that... Anyway, something to ponder. So, look at you, cool guy, you got it. I can't help to think, when I first watched the Eras tour, that when she first, I think it's in the middle of Cruel Summer, where she first stops and the whole crowd is just screaming. I think, is it Waiting for the Bridge? Anyway, she looks like an absolute mother, and she really does look like the it person. And then you add in The Man, which I think is a little bit of the fact that Taylor has done the song The Man. I think Olivia has taken that and run with that a slight bit in this album. Most of these songs can be interpreted as written to a lover, but when you break it down, yeah, it can also be about non-romantic situations as well. She truly is an absolutely brilliant writer. She's made some real big mistakes. I think that's how she feels over and over again. I think she feels like either not writing the songs, perhaps using the interpolation of New Year's Day for 1 step forward, 3 steps back. I can't emphasize how prophetic that song was. 1 step forward and 3 steps back. I'm the love of your life until I make you mad. And I think for one moment she kind of thought that Taylor really liked her, and then I think this kind of made her mad, and yeah. So I should have known it was strange to only come out at night, like midnights. Taylor only releases her songs at midnight. I thought I was smart, but you made me look so naive. Olivia had got online advertising music of albums that Taylor Swift was bringing out back when I think Olivia was a Disney star and she wasn't making albums herself. I think she kind of, I don't know, she expected Taylor to actually advertise her music. I don't actually think she was that naive. I just don't think she expected that when she wrote incredible original music that Taylor would try and take credit for that. I think that's what she thought she was naive about. When somebody takes credits on your work and therefore millions of dollars, you would feel like you've been sold for parts. I certainly would. Bloodsucker, fame fucker. I mean, I think the fame fucker, I feel like the dirty verse only really relates to Taylor Swift. I feel like she's the only fame fucker. I mean, I suppose if you're famous and you're dating other famous people, you might be able to relate this to yourself, but I personally think the Dream Crusher version, although it doesn't hit as hard, I can certainly relate it to more people that I know in my life that seem to be dream squatters. There's just so many different elements of this album, of this song and this album as a whole, that have throwbacks to each other. How do you lie? How do you lie? How do you lie? The repetition of things, and it's almost like sometimes she's coming to a realization as she's saying these things over and over again. Like she'll say tonight, it's a bad idea, right? The way it develops, it's a bad idea, right? It's a question, it's a bad idea, right? It's a statement, it's a bad idea, right? It's an emphatic statement, and then fuck it, it's fine. It's this building and exactly the same thing used in different tones, which can come off differently. It's absolutely brilliant writing. Yeah, I think this whole situation with Taylor felt like a bit of a paralyzing, fucked up little thrill for her. They went for me and not her. This line, I think, is important. I feel like there are so many different times that, like, if everyone was going to go after Taylor Swift every time a Taylor Swift song sounded a little bit like a song that they'd written, and I'm not saying that they haven't. Taylor has been sued over Shake It Off and a number of other songs. I have no problem with people getting credits for something if they actually worked on something, if somebody has plagiarized their work. Inspiring, I don't know. I think I'd feel a little jaded as well. So let's have a look at Lacey. This was originally written as a poem. I think the softness kind of works with it.
Skin like puff pastry, aren't you the sweetest thing on this side of hell? Ooh, I care, like perfume that you wear. Ooh, I try, but it takes over my life. I see you everywhere, the sweetest torture. What could be?
I have to say, Lacey is one of the most beautiful songs that I've heard for a long time. I love a nice, soft, introspective song that just makes you think a little bit. Lacey, oh Lacey, skin like puff pastry. I mean, that could be interpreted in so many ways. Is it puff pastry, it's flaking off like a vampire? Is it puff pastry, like it's sweet, like sweet tooth, like the perfume that Sabrina Carpenter released. Everyone says that she dissed her a lot on her first album. I've listened to it. I don't think she actually dissed Sabrina at all. If anything, I think she actually came across as quite envious of her. And she was rightly so upset at the man in her life that had moved on so quickly with Sabrina. So I think it's a little unfair that people have sort of made that characterization. Yeah, aren't you the sweetest thing on this side of hell? I really thought about that line and I thought, okay, so I'm on this side of hell. And I mean, I think Olivia's trying to say this, she's in hell at this point. Like, she's confused. She's upset about what's happened. She's certainly on the outs of the it crowd. And aren't you the sweetest thing on this side of hell? So, I don't know. A lot of people have said this song is about Sabrina Carpenter. I feel like it's more about Taylor, but I feel like maybe there's hints of Sabrina in there as well. I think the fact that Sabrina's now going on tour with Taylor, she can't help but to amalgamate the two of them a little bit. It may even be the reason why Taylor went after the credits for the sour songs that she thought she could get credits for, because we all know that she's known Sabrina for a long time. I don't know how close they are exactly, but yeah, I think that they certainly get along. Yeah, I don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but I think this song is a little bit of an amalgamation perhaps of her envy and her feelings towards the both of them. That's my interpretation anyway.
I feel your compliments are bullets on skin, dazzling scarlet Bardorian carnivore.
Okay, I just stopped it, but yeah, this is kind of just backing up what I just said. Like, I think it's a little bit of an amalgamation of the two of them. Smart, sexy, lacy. I mean, Taylor's brilliant, and she's also sexy. I think Sabrina's probably a very smart person too. She's also known for being very sexy. I feel your compliments like bullets on skin. Like, Taylor complimented Olivia by saying, I think was something along the lines of "That's my girl" or something, when her songs were right up, one of her songs was right up there with one of Taylor's songs, and she was, you know, commenting online. She was in lockdown and all excited that one of her songs, her first song, I think, had gotten some recognition. I don't think she really expected all this. And then, yeah, I think now she must look at it and she feels those compliments that Taylor gives her like bullets, like, were you just trying to set me up to watch me fall, which she talks about later. I mean, dazzling starlet, Bardot reincarnate. I mean, you look at Taylor on stage, she is the dazzling starlet at the moment. Bardot reincarnate. I mean, is Taylor now the next version of, I think we all know that Bardot is actually referring to Sabrina. The reincarnate bit, I'm not sure if that means that Taylor is like now the muse of this new album, or that perhaps that she's taken on Sabrina's beef, like you know, she messed with her friend, now they've got bad blood. Aren't she the greatest thing to ever exist? Yeah, I think the whole world kind of is saying that at the moment. The Eras Tour is unbelievably successful, and I think so it should be. Taylor is such a professional. When I look at the level of production, the level of professionalism, the stamina that goes into the Eras Tour and producing that level of performance night after night without failure, in the pouring rain even, she really does deserve it all. Unfortunately, while Olivia's in the midst of having all these confused feelings about her, Taylor is everywhere, and we'll see more of that later in this album.
Ooh, I care, like ribbons in your hair, my stomach's all in knots. You got the one thing that I want. Ooh.
Okay, so ribbons in your hair, my stomach's all in knots. Oh God, that is such a relatable line. That the idea that something upsets you so much that you literally have knots in your stomach just thinking about it, and it's because you care so much. It's not because this isn't hurting you. It's not because it's no big deal, like Olivia is kind of forced to say in all of her interviews. And I think she kind of hints at that later in the album too, that she kind of she's forced to say she's fine, and you know, meanwhile she still really cares about all this stuff, and this is the only way that she can address it. She does it brilliantly.
She's trying to rationalize people are people, but it's like you're made of angels.
Yeah. It must feel like at this stage she's not dealing with a person, she's dealing with this entity that's bigger than life. Or even I think someone said angel dust was a drug, maybe. Like, you know, she gives everyone this euphoria that, I don't know, I think sometimes people misinterpret and don't really see what's going on sometimes.
Lacey, oh Lacey, it's like you're out to get me. You poison every little thing that I do. Lacey, oh Lacey, I just loathe you lately, and I despise my jealous eyes and how hard they fell for you. Yeah, I despise my rotten mind and how much it worships you.
Yeah, I think that really says it all. Lacey, oh Lacey, I feel like you're out to get me. I think she really does feel like Taylor is out to get her. I don't know if it's personal for Taylor. I think Taylor certainly has business reasons for wanting to, like, I don't know, discredit maybe Olivia a little bit. I get it. They're running a business. They're in the same space, but as someone who listens to music, I want other people in that space. I want good music. And let me put this to you. Do you want your playlist to have one person on it? Do you want there to be one contender for every award? Do you want other artists? Do you want Taylor to only be competing with herself? Is that going to create the best art? I don't think so. But anyway, Lacey, oh Lacey, I just loathe you lately, and I love the way when she sings this. It's almost like she's whispering, like this is a bad idea, right? Like I don't even really want to say this out loud. And I feel like this album, she's kind of gone through like the stages of grieving, thinking about this situation. And I think for a really diaristic songwriter, that's what they do. They use their songwriting medium to process their emotions. I think it's brilliant. Instead of spending a fortune at a therapist, they're making a fortune by letting us into their diaries, letting us into their souls, and we love it. I despise my jealous eyes and how hard they fell for you. I can't emphasize enough how much this album does not have any gay undertones. I think people are very one-dimensional if they think that. I think being jealous is certainly nothing to do with being gay. Loving someone, worshipping someone, God, you can love and worship someone and not have any romantic attraction to them. These things, like 2 + 2 does not equal 5 people. Like, yeah. I despise my jealous eyes and how hard they fell for you. I think she wishes that she didn't love Taylor Swift so much, because it's so much harder now to deal with the fact that this has happened. She despises her rotten mind and how much it worships her, because I think she still does. Like, how could she not? She's still a brilliant songwriter, and nothing she's done to her personally is going to take away from that. She can't unlearn the lessons that she's learnt. Now we're going to move on to the Ballad of a Homeschool Girl. Another banger. I love this. Okay, I just absolutely love this song. Who hasn't felt that? Who hasn't woken up either after a big night on the drink maybe, or just any type of event or situation and thought, oh my God, what did I say? I made it weird, I made it worse. I don't know, I think you've got to be a very special type of person if you've never felt like that. Oh, cat got my tongue. The media keep asking her, but she's not allowed to say anything. Cat's got her tongue. Like, I don't think I get along with anyone. I think she thinks everyone's against her. I think there might be a faction of people who are making it seem like that. Blood running cold. I'm on the outside of the greatest inside joke. Yeah, I think that's exactly how she feels at the moment. I think the VMAs were kind of a little disheartening. Feels like a little, I don't know, Mean Girls vibe going on. I get it probably had to be a little uncomfortable for Taylor Swift sitting there and listening to a song that everyone kind of knows was probably written about her, but hey, you make the bed, you lie in it. Like, I kind of feel like if Taylor had a good way to swing this, she would have come out and made some sort of statement about why she was justified in taking these credits, and she hasn't. So, I mean, Taylor takes a swing at people in all of her music, and we love you for it, Taylor. We do, we love her. And I love Olivia for the same reason. I think it's fair game. I think, you know, even though the executives and the labels might want to shut you up and silence you, at the same time, just say it as it is. Just say it as it is. Everyone does it. I love this last verse. I think a lot of people don't actually get this, or maybe I just see it differently. I thought your mum was your wife, called you the wrong name twice, can't think of a third line, la 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 la. Now, a lot of people, I think, thought this was lazy writing. I don't think they actually got the whole, not once in this whole song, which I think is clever as well. She doesn't once mention being homeschooled. So this song does not polarize you from relating to this song because you weren't homeschooled. However, I think some people might listen to it to go, hey, what was it like to be homeschooled? This might give me a little bit of an insight. But I think everyone can relate to it. But I think this last bit is really coming back to the whole homeschooled. She's awkward socially. You know, I thought your mum was your wife, which, you know, go mum. It's much worse, by the way, if you think that the wife is his mom. That's a lot worse. Like, you at least got it the more flattering way. Called you the wrong name twice. So embarrassing, such a socially awkward thing to do. And then you can't think of anything else to say because you've just embarrassed yourself. And so all you can think to do now is la 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 la. You know, you're using filler words now to try and fill that silence because you're not used to this. You're awkward, and you don't have to be homeschooled to feel like that. But I don't know. I think that was where Olivia was coming from. Let's get into making the bed. I think this is where the tone of the album really does start to change a little bit. This is what I'm saying about the signs of grieving.
Did it so it's done. Another thing I ruined. Used to do for fun. Another piece of plastic could just throw away. Another conversation with nothing good to say. I thought it, so I said it. Took it cause I can. Another day pretending I'm older than I am. Another perfect moment that doesn't feel like mine. Another thing I forced to be a sign.
Okay, I really think this is one of the most telling, the most diaristic songs on this album. I think this is more about how Olivia truly, truly feels. I could be wrong, but that's what I see. I want it, so I got it. I did it, so it's done. I think this is, you know, about the other album. You know, it's all done now. It is what it is. Another thing I ruined that I used to do for fun, yeah, songwriting. She loved it. She loved listening to Taylor Swift too. It's ruined. all of her songs are going to hit different now for Olivia. And I've actually listened to Debut recently, and it's really differently. Like, imagining what it would be like for Olivia. Do yourself a favour. Anyway, another piece of plastic that I could just throw away. I think this is definitely the album that she's talking about. Another conversation with nothing good to say, all the interviews that she has to do. She literally cannot say a good word about Taylor. She used to love saying good things about Taylor, and she cannot anymore. She also can't say anything bad, but I don't think she's got anything good to say. If somebody asked her honestly, I think if she had anything, if she could answer honestly, she would have nothing good to say right now. Even though it's clear she still does love Taylor quite a lot. I thought it, so it said it. I took it because I can. Another day pretending I'm older than I am. I think her life definitely must feel like that. She's very, very young, but this is a very mature life that she's living. Another thing I forced to be a sign. I really feel like when she's seen those tweets from Taylor and the ring and the letter, like, she had to think that that was a sign that, I don't know, she was somehow accepted, that Taylor liked her music, I guess at least that she wasn't going to be shunned from the music industry. I never think she really expected any of this to happen, as I said. I think that she must look back on it now and she thinks, like, did I just force myself to think that 2 + 2 = 5? That you saying that, I don't know, that my album was good meant that you would support me or not try and take credit for my work. And it really sits wrong with me for a lot of reasons that Taylor did this, even though I love her. Mainly because, like, I think everybody's gotten behind Taylor in the rewrites, and like, we want her to own her music, but don't we want everyone to own their music? And, like, should Taylor really be owning music that she didn't have any creative input on? Like, when you're an icon, you're literally an icon. You've been making music for 17 years, incredible music, and not just music, but over 250 songs, I think, now. So you almost have written about every season, colour, month, you know, mentioned half the names. That there's, you know, you've done it all. So how are you not supposed to inspire people's work in some way, shape or form? Isn't it a compliment? Isn't imitation the greatest form of flattery? I don't think that copying is okay, but I don't think Olivia has copied anything. I think she's an extremely, extremely original artist, actually.
Sometimes I feel like I don't wanna be where I am, getting drunk at a club with my favorite friends, push away all the people who know me the best. But it's me who's been making the bed. I'm so tired of being the girl that I am. Every good thing's turned into something I dread, and I'm playing the victim so well in my head. But it's me who's been.
Yeah, it is you that's been making the bed, Olivia. I won't take that away from you. You wrote it, you said it, so you can. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to be where I am. Getting drunk in a club with my fair weather friends. I mean, the fair weather phrase just takes me back to the monologue that Taylor did before, I think it was like Getaway Car or something, in one of her live shows that she did. And it's a great big monologue that mentions her fair weather friends and, you know, referencing Snakegate and all that. And I mean, I think it's a pretty specific term, fair weather friends. You don't hear it a lot. I think it's quite apt to the music industry. Olivia may not have meant it to do anything to do with Taylor Swift. However, I feel like she feels that Taylor was one of her fair weather friends. She thought she was a friend for a fleeting moment. And then I think she realised that she's not a friend. They are business competitors, and this is how the business works. I think she got a lot of lessons very quickly. I think Taylor thought it was time to teach some lessons, and she did.
All the shit's up in my head, making the bed.
So what I hear in this is just so much accountability on Olivia's side. Like, she knows what she did. Like, I don't think that she thinks what she did was plagiarism. I think it wasn't, and I don't think that she thinks it is. But I think that she acknowledges the mistakes that she's made. I think that she acknowledges that perhaps Taylor thought she was trying to leech off her fame by mentioning her. I don't think she was, but yeah, I actually think that Olivia did the right thing. I think she cited in the media publicly her inspirations. She wasn't a songwriter on the album of Sour at all, but she was an inspiration, and Olivia gave her the credit in the forum that I think that she deserved it, and she got beaten for it. I actually don't think it's Olivia's fault. I feel like it's the internet's fault. I think it's the media's fault. I think everybody makes out like it's such a bad thing that she's been inspired by someone. I think that's ridiculous. I think, yeah, so I'm hearing a lot of accountability for her role in this, and I think that's refreshing. I think that's something that Taylor's a very reactive artist, but we never really hear any accountability from Taylor until it's pointed out for a while, and then we get songs like Back to December. But anyway, Olivia says it like it is. See, she knows it. She doesn't want to think about it. Now, I did skip out on this last verse, but I have to mention it because, as I said, I do think that this song is one of the most telling in the journey of how Olivia feels about this whole situation. Every night I wake up from this one recurring dream. This is just constant. She tries to forget about it, but this just keeps coming up for Olivia. I'm driving through the city and the brakes go out on me. This is one of the best brilliant analogies. I can't stop at the red light, can't swerve off the road. I read somewhere it's because my life is so out of control. Like, interpreting a dream, like you have these dreams and that's how her life must feel. Like, everything's kind of beyond her control, whether she ever mentions Taylor Swift again in her life. People are going to keep making comparisons, and I don't mean this to be a comparison, by the way. I really do mean this to be a critical look at some of the differences, and really more than anything just the reason behind why Olivia has addressed some of these issues in this album, and like I said, what she's trying to scream at us, what she's trying to say. I think that when she says, I tell someone I love them just as a distraction, and they tell me that they love me like I'm some tourist attraction. Like, her life must not feel real now. Like, people walk up to famous people with the camera, and instead of asking them, like, hi, how are you, like a human being, they turn around and want to get a selfie, and like, it must feel very dehumanizing. And for a young person especially, it must be a little bit daunting. I think Olivia must be a little bit, maybe, she did Disney, she's not completely naive to how all this works, but it's still going to feel very, very abnormal to have someone coming up to you or, you know, saying to their friend, oh my God, I seen Olivia Rodrigo today, like they seen a tourist attraction. And here again, we're mentioning machinery, the changing my machinery. I think a lot of this, the riots, a lot of this went down without, like, Olivia, I'm sure, knew and had some sort of say in it, but at the end of the day, probably didn't really have that much say in it. Like I said, there was no good way that she could address this, and that the Swifties weren't going to come after her. I think this was really the most clever way to address this situation. I think it will go over a lot of people's heads, and the few people that are interested to know, I think, are people that are going to care enough about real quality music and not just one artist to be able to let Olivia into the space as well and appreciate the music for what it is. They're changing my machinery and I just let it happen. I think maybe she probably regrets not fighting. I think a few people probably would have said to her Taylor doesn't deserve the credits, and that maybe she would have even won if a lawsuit had ensued. Who knows if it actually would have, but as I said, Olivia had nothing to gain by it. You know, she just let it happen. She got the things that she wanted, but it wasn't what she imagined. She's a young songwriter. What do you think that she would have always wanted? What would be the most high accolade for a young lady like that, who's in love with Taylor Swift, who thinks that she's an idol and a brilliant songwriter? Like, she probably would love to have written a song with her one day, to have her name beside her in any professional setting. And she got it. It was on her album. Taylor is now listed as part of the creative writing credits on her album. Olivia did not get to sit in a room and create some art with Taylor. She didn't get that. But she gave Taylor millions of dollars regardless. So I'd have feelings too if I was her. I would. I don't think I could put it as succinctly as she does, though. And that's why she's doing this for a living, and not me. Logical. Okay. Again, very telling part of the process. And this is where I'm going to talk more about
I still manipulate.
1 step forward and 3 steps back.
I just so good at what you do. Come for me like a savior. And I put myself through hell for you. Hear all the rumors lately that you always deny.
I think the numbers in this are not an accident. I feel like Olivia is certainly making a clapback to the original problem. 1 step forward, 3 steps back, like I touched on before, really was 1 step forward and 3 step back for her career. It was prophetic in an unfortunate way that she never predicted. She never could have predicted, I don't think. A master manipulator, I mean, Taylor said it in a speech herself. Is she a master manipulator or is she a brilliant businesswoman? You're so good at what you do. We can't deny Taylor is good at what she does. I think Olivia really feels like she put herself out on a limb for Taylor, and in return, I think she feels like she got bitten. There was a lot of rumours swirling around about that, and yeah, now I think she's hearing them in a different light, just like I think she's hearing Taylor's songs in a different light. She's saying how naive she was. She thought she was smart, but now she thinks she's naive.
Fell for you like water falls from the February sky. You convinced me, baby, it was all in my mind.
I really could cry there. And I fell for you like water from the February sky. Now the current's stronger. I mean, Taylor's mention of the current. Lost in your current like a priceless wine. I couldn't get out if I tried. I mean, Olivia is swept up in this whole narrative, whether she likes it or not. And, you know, I think at first Taylor convinced her that everyone just says this stuff. It's not true. It's not true. It's all in their mind.
And now you got me thinking 2 + 2 = 5. And I'm the love of your life. 'Cause if rain don't pour and sun don't shine, and changing you is possible. No, love is never logical. You built a giant castle with walls so high I couldn't see. The way it all unraveled, and all the things you did.
to unpack. Like, the math, like, it adds up and it doesn't add up at the same time. Oh, 2 + 2 = 5. Oh. You build a giant castle with walls so high I couldn't see. I mean, yeah, Taylor has built this castle. She's talked about her castle crumbling. I really hope Taylor hasn't prophesized her own fate. I don't want Taylor's castle to crumble. That's not what this is about, right? I want Taylor to keep creating brilliant music. I want good artists to keep pushing each other to create better and better music. I don't need Twitter feuds and vitriol to make it brilliant. But hey, does it help? It certainly does. I don't think we would have this album not in this way if Olivia hadn't had these experiences. So Taylor should think about that. She should think about the fact that all the men in her life gave her all the fodder, all of the juice, all of the stories to be able to sell to people that got everyone on her side. Taylor is a master at it, and she can't be surprised when people are inspired and people learn and people do the same thing. That's what good art is. So much accountability. Like Taylor, she knows she's self-responsible. She feels horrible. Yeah, I think in those dreams that Olivia was talking about, those recurring dreams, I think that's what she keeps thinking to herself. Like, why didn't I stop it all? Why did I just not interpolate New Year's Day over 1 step forward and 3 steps back? I mean, she could have left the song off the album if she couldn't find the right chords that work. I think she must wonder that to herself a lot. Why did she not stop it all? Why didn't she do things differently with Sour? But hey, we can't take things back, and that's life. And let's face it, the response was not logical. Now we're going to get into Getting Back.
I met a guy in the summer and I left him in the spring. He argued with me about everything. He had an ego and a temper and a wandering eye. Said he's 6'2" and I'm like, dude, nice try. But he was so much fun and he had such weird friends and he would take us out to parties.
Olivia seems to love weird friends, weird people in general. I think it's a bit of a Gen Z thing.
Something wrong, he just brought me to France. So I miss him some nights when I'm feeling depressed. Till I remember every time.
Both Taylor and Sabrina have just written songs called Paris on their last album, and he flies in France. This is about them as well. This is not about man. She wanted us to get them back. She wants to make them jealous, and she wants to make them feel bad. This whole situation doesn't make her feel sad. She wants some revenge. Another example of her referring to Taylor as the man. I want to get him back. It took me a while to actually get that. Once you hear it, you kind of can't unhear it. She pulls a little heart out, but as she's hitting send, it's a reference, I believe, to Sabrina Carpenter's album, which clapped back in a couple of her songs, quite explicitly. I think it was pretty obvious that it was a definite clapback. And the album was called Emails I Can't Send. So again, it's a little bit of a Sabrina couldn't say all these things in public. Sabrina had nothing to gain by coming out and saying, well, you know, Olivia was a bit unfair on me. Like, there was talk about Sabrina getting death threats. Like, really, what is wrong with people online? I think the fact that she's purposely mentioned, I met a guy in the summer and I left him in the spring. I mean, this is purposely supposed to be referencing her ex. I feel like she's trying to set up the reasonable illusion that this album could be about her ex. I think that if she makes it too obvious that this is definitely about Taylor Swift, which it's not. I mean, everything's open to interpretation, but I do think that when we look at what's going on in her life, then I think it's a reasonable conclusion to make, but I'd like to hear your opinion on it, so please comment.
Said I was the only girl, but that just wasn't the truth. And when I told him how we hurt me, he told me I was tripping. But I am my father's daughter, so maybe I could fix it.
So, Olivia's father is a psychiatrist, so I think she's saying, you know, needs a little bit of therapy, like, maybe she could do that. Maybe she could fix his, like, deep-seated issues. Or her deep-seated issues. I really do think this song is definitely about more than one person. I think there's a lot of people in Olivia's life where she's like, you know what, yeah, I don't know whether I want to love you or hate you, but, like, I feel things about this. Oh, I love how this goes back and forth.
With an uppercut, just to tell her
and this is what makes me think it is actually about Taylor Swift. I'm sorry, but I want to meet his mum to tell her son sucks. I mean, I think she probably envisioned when Taylor first sent her a ring and all that sort of stuff happened, that, you know, maybe one day she would meet a mom and, like, you know, she'd be able to gush to her about how amazing she thought Taylor was. And now she wants to meet her mum just so that she can tell her. And I mean, this is, again, so relatable. Like, who hasn't wanted to call someone's mother or family member or someone in their life who maybe isn't privy to their bad behaviour and expose their bad behaviour? I think some people have the guts to do it and some people don't. But yeah, I think just super relatable. I think this song just hits in so many different ways. Yeah, she wants revenge, but then she wants him again. She's not sure what she wants. Girl certainly got feelings, and great at putting them into a song. Like, again, how developed is the sound of all of these songs? There's not one of these songs that I think, wow, this sound doesn't belong in here, or this needs more of this. I really think it's really well developed.
I got him good. I got him really good.
So cute. Going straight into Love is Embarrassing. Such a good song. This whole album, honestly. No skips. No skips on this album.
And then you kiss some girl from high school. And I stayed in bed for like a week when you said space was what you need. Waited by my phone like a goddamn fool. And now it don't mean anything. God loves fucking embarrassing. Just why did I crucify myself? First time weird, second string loser who's not worth mentioning. My God, love's embarrassing as hell.
Yes, Olivia, love is embarrassing. Love is extremely embarrassing. I really feel like she's trying to say that it's embarrassing to her now how much she gushed about what an inspiration Taylor was and how much she loved her music. Waited by my phone like a goddamn fool. I really think Olivia at first was kind of waiting for an apology from first her ex, then maybe Taylor. I think she's slowly realizing that maybe that might not happen. But yeah, I think she feels like a goddamn fool for waiting for it.
And I consoled you while you cried over your ex-girlfriend's new guy. My God, how could I be so stupid? You found a new version of me, and I damn near started World War III. Jesus, what was I even doing?
Okay, I've mentioned accountability before. You found a new version of me, and I damn near started World War III. So there was a lot of talk about Olivia perhaps being, I think, what everyone would have considered a great choice, maybe even the natural choice, for the opening act for the Eras Tour. At some point, at least, there's been a lot of opening acts on there. I think people would have been especially feverish to see Olivia at that. I think it was a little naive of everybody to think that that could happen. I think these girls are just a little bit too competitive for that. I think Olivia has gotten a little bit too big too quickly for that to be a viable option. But then Taylor found a new version of Olivia to replace her, Sabrina, who just happens to be the same woman that Josh replaced her with. And I mean, this has to hit pretty hard. I don't think it's a personal thing against Sabrina. I actually do not think that Olivia has ill wishes towards Sabrina at all. I really don't. I think she just wishes they didn't both fall for the same guy and have that situation. And I think she realizes now that she damn near started World War III. I think when Sabrina clapped back in her album, I don't think Olivia really expected people to pick up on who this blonde girl was, or, but when you hear certain songs like All Too Well or Driver's License, they hit a certain heartstring where I don't know what it is about those two songs in particular for me, and a lot of songs like that, but they really do make you, Dear John's another great one, that just makes you want to go, fuck this guy, I'm on your side, he fucked you over, you really want to jump on that bandwagon, and there's nothing wrong with that. Music should invoke feelings. It really should. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel like that in life. I've made a bet on this person and it didn't pay off. Oh, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. And I kind of think that she thinks that by writing this album she is watch as I crucify myself. She's doubling down. She knows what she did last time. Olivia knows. She gave up millions of dollars. She didn't even get a divorce. Gave up millions of dollars to someone that she'll never marry. How fucking embarrassing. Now we will address the situation head on. At the crunch.
There's nightmares each week about that Friday in May. One phone call from you and my entire world was changed. Trust that you betrayed, confusion that still lingers. Took everything I loved and crushed it in between your fingers. And I doubt you ever think about the damage that you did, but I hold on to every detail like my life depends on it. My undying love, now I hold it like a grudge. And I hear your voice every time that I think I'm not enough.
There's so much to unpack in this song, and how beautiful is her voice, the instrumental, this whole song. It just has such a delicate, beautiful feeling to it, and it's so contrasting to Love Is Embarrassing. It's a beautiful way to bring the album back down to I don't know, let's talk about this. Let's not scream about this anymore. Let's talk about this reasonably. I have nightmares each week about that Friday in May. I think that's about the time when Olivia her team got a phone call to say that Taylor deserved credits on her album. But yeah, I think it was about May. I think she brought out I think April the song came out, and I think by May or June, credits were added for Taylor and other people, Jack Antonoff included. It could also be a time when she's broken up with someone, but again, I thoroughly believe that this is about the situation. I think this is where she, as I said, addresses this a little bit more calmly. The trust that you betrayed and the confusion that still lingers, she's obviously very confused as to why this would happen, why she would do this. Took everything I loved and crushed it right between your fingers. You took her first album, her first baby. Like, Taylor, you think of your albums as your children, and you took her first child, which she created, and you squashed it between your fingers. Your mighty magnate, Midas touch, brilliant fingers. And I doubt you ever think about the damage that you do you? I don't know. And I hold on to every detail like my life depends on it. Like, Taylor has held on to all of her grudges. So yeah, Taylor has made a career about holding on to every detail of a grudge and bringing it up over and over again and making killer songs out of it. And I think she'd better hope that Olivia doesn't actually, like, hold on to this forever. I mean, 17 years of this could be exhausting. I don't think she will, but yeah, I think Taylor needs to be careful creating grudges in people that perhaps they won't let go of. Like, Taylor doesn't. Why should they?
I've tried for so long. It takes strength to forgive, but I don't feel strong.
That's where I think she's
Arguments that I've won against you in my head, in the shower, in the car, and in the mirror before bed. Yeah, I'm so tough when I'm alone. And I make you feel so guilty, and I fantasize about a time you're a little fucking sorry, and I
okay, yeah. Like, this whole album, like, she just really wants Taylor to be the tiniest little bit sorry. Like, Taylor could do this in a million ways. She could address it in a song, she could address it in a speech, she could address it in a phone call, in a tweet, in any different way. Taylor is the master of spin. She could reverse this with, you know, a little bit of the breeze in her hair on the weekend if she unleashes her karma the way that she knows she can. So, yeah, can you blame Olivia for holding on to a grudge like this?
understand why you would do this all to me. You must be insecure, you must be so unhappy, not knowing my heart. Hurt people, and we both drew blood, but man, those cuts were never equal.
Okay, I'm sorry to stop it again, but this whole song is just brilliant. And see, I don't know if you guys have ever watched an Australian movie, Crocodile Dundee, but that line, we both drew blood, but man, those cuts were never equal. Like, brilliant line on its own, just so brilliant. And I don't know if I'm the only person or if only Aussies think this, but that we both drew blood, but man, those cuts were never equal. I can't help but to think, like...
And your wallet.
Nick, give him your wallet.
What for?
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Yeah, I think Olivia can make all the jibes she likes in her music and doesn't make a dent compared to one word from Taylor Swift. Like, those cuts aren't equal.
Beat up, but I wanna scream. How could anybody do the things you did? Sorry, believe that I say I don't care. I say that I'm fine, but you know I can't let it go. I've tried for so
Got the repetition again. This is about Taylor.
It takes strength to forgive, but I don't feel strong.
The arguments that I've won against her in my head, and the shower in the car and in the mirror before bed, I mean, I feel like this is everyone, like I said, so relatable, regardless of whether she wrote this about someone else. Like, who hasn't had an argument with someone that just keeps going in your head and you win every time in your own head because you're so right. But there's just no point because, you know, this person's never going to be just like a little fucking sorry. Like, but that's all you want. Sometimes a situation can be resolved. It doesn't change it. Some people can forgive and forget if someone's just a little fucking sorry. And not sorry. It's like, sorry. Anyway, sorry. Did she deserve it all? Okay, you absolutely cannot deny that that is definitely about Taylor. I mean, that's not a line that you actually... A lot of this is very easy to imagine that this is your partner that you're seeing it to, or an ex, or, you know, some sort of romantic relationship that is going on. Like, do you think I deserved it all? Your flowers filled with vitriol. Like, Taylor sent her gifts and she made her think that, you know, she was going to be accepted in some way. And then, you know, she built her up. And I feel like to watch her very publicly, I might add, to watch her fall. I don't think she did fall. And I don't blame her for feeling like that. And the way that her bridges lift and they make you feel it with her, the words really do just roll off the tongue as if it's someone that's just pouring their heart out in a way that they haven't had to construct a song and work out how many syllables need to go in this line so that it works with that last verse and so forth. It is just pouring your heart out, and it's so beautiful, it's so relatable. But yeah, I'm sorry, it is 100% about Taylor Swift in my books. Olivia is trying to be tough, but she feels the way that she feels.
Try to be me, but even after all this, you're still everything to
Taylor is
me.
still
And I
everything
know
to
you
her.
don't care.
She really is still an
That's
idol.
fine.
Can't take that away.
I can't let it go. I've tried for so long.
Yeah. I think Olivia tried not to write this album,
Takes
not to
strength
feel like this.
forgive,
But Taylor's given her no reason to.
to.
Like I said, one phone call could have maybe stopped this whole thing.
Strength to forgive.
I'm glad that phone call never happened because I love this album. Wow. So beautiful. Okay. That's what I love about this album. It lifts us up, it brings us down, it brings us to a point of retrospection, and then just stops again.
Bought a bunch of makeup, trying to cover up my face. I started to skip lunch, stopped eating cake on birthdays.
Never do that.
Bought a new prescription to try and stay calm, 'cause there's always something missing. There's always
feel this way.
here that I think looks wrong. Pretty isn't pretty enough. What do you do? Everybody's keeping
If you're Olivia, you just write amazing tunes about it.
I could change my body, change my face. I could try every lipstick in every shade. And pretty isn't pretty enough. What do you do?
I think this is just a great anthem for being young. It's just, yeah. No matter what you do, you can't win, so like, fuck it. It's fine. I'm sorry, Olivia. I really am sorry that that happened to you. I love listening to music. I get so on one person's side when I listen to their album, and then I listen to the other person's album, and I'm like, oh, she's got a point.
Everyone thinks you're an angel, but I would probably use different wording.
Anyway. I bought all the clothes they told me to buy and chased some dumb ideal my whole fucking life. I think the ideal is Taylor. She chased the idea of one being her friend, being a singer-songwriter that's accepted in her group. Yeah, she chased this ideal her whole fucking life, and now none of it matters, none of it ends. She never hears the end of it. It's just over and over, and it just makes her feel like shit over and over again. Like, this poor girl. Like, no, it'll never change. She's accepted that it's not enough. You know, being pretty is not enough. You know, keeping it up is not enough. Keeping up this act, people are still going to come at her and accuse her. I think her biggest thing is she thinks that everyone's going to accuse her of plagiarism, and they're not. I mean, Elvis Costello came out and said himself, when people were mentioning in this new album that guitar riffs were really, really similar to ones on his songs, that, you know, he said himself that art should take the broken pieces and make new art out of it, or something to that effect. And this is what I'm saying about, I'm here for the art. I want art to, in some way, sometimes reference other art, to clap back, to, you know, have some interesting correlations between things. Like, give us something to talk about. Let's not be one-dimensional. Anyway, last song. Let's get into Teenage Dream. And back down with that beautiful piano.
When am I gonna stop being wise beyond my years and just start being wise? When am I gonna stop being a pretty young thing that guys? When am I gonna stop being great for my age and just start being good?
You're more than good,
When
Olivia.
will it stop being cool
You're
and
incredible, honey.
quietly misunderstood?
And I don't think I don't misunderstand you. I don't think I do anyway.
Happy birthday me. That they already got
She really does have a way of evoking emotion.
And I'm sorry that I couldn't always be your teenage dream.
When will it stop being cool to be quietly misunderstood? Well, Taylor still seems to be doing it just fine at 33, so, like, not anytime soon is my prediction.
Good intentions start to not be enough. And will everyone have every reason to call on my bluff? When are all my
Why won't people call Taylor's bluffs? That's what I want to know. I love you, Taylor, but, like, really? Why did you take credit? You're all about having credit for your own work. Really? Frustrates me. Pause, Olivia. Here is poor Olivia. Pouring out her heart. So beautifully. And genuinely being worried and scared about, what if this all just goes away? What if I'm not as good as people keep telling me that I am? What if I can't keep it up? I mean, it's a real anxiety. I mean, if you're good at anything, you're going to have that anxiety. Again, it's relatable for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. I think the best songs can't just have one meaning. Olivia talked about that in her interview. She doesn't want to answer what any of these songs are about, because let's be honest, they're about Taylor. I love the Google interview that she does, actually, and she's asked about who her songs are about, and she flicks the thing and says, your mom, and I, you know, mother, like, all the stuff. She doesn't want to say it. She can't say it, but she's saying it. It does get better, Olivia. You know what? None of this has been bad for you. Again, I'm here for the art. The art is amazing. I challenge any of you that have watched this video through to the end to actually tell me now that this has absolutely nothing to do with Taylor Swift. I'll admit some of these might be complete reaches. The lines may not directly be referencing Taylor in the way that I have interpreted. However, I have a hard time believing that none of this album has anything to do with the credit that was taken away from Olivia. And, you know, this has been a very formative experience for Olivia, and this is why I think Taylor should be careful. Again, the formative experiences that Taylor had, largely all the men in her life, and look how everyone jumped on the bandwagon to defend her. And I mean, you know, Kanye did something that we can see the clips of. So there are differences. However, you know, with social media and just the world the way that it is these days, I think people are calling out bad behaviour, and people should call out bad behaviour wherever they see it. And I'm wondering how public sentiment's going to change from, you know, everyone feeling for Taylor and this young girl that everybody, you know, felt like the world had been so mean to her. And, you know, one day she'd be living in a big old city, and well, now she's living in a big old castle and squashing people between her fingers. And yeah, how is this all going to play out? Oh, my 2 cents. Olivia, just keep going. This is absolutely brilliant. You're brilliant, can't say it enough. So talented, don't let the world get to you. Just keep making brilliant art. I'm here for it. Sabrina, I think you're a legend. Don't mean to bring you into this, but hey, I'm calling a spade a spade. Love your album. Everyone should listen to Emails That I Can't Send. It is a beautiful album. And Taylor, never going to hear this, obviously, but I love you to death. If I had one thing to say to Taylor, obviously, like I said, she's never going to hear this, but like, just take on that role of being an icon. Like, actually own it. Realize that people are going to use your art to inspire them. No, they don't have the right to copyright you. I don't think people are doing that anyway, though. So let's keep things in perspective. Let's not make your castle crumble by taking other people's toys on the playground, because that doesn't make you any friends. You taught us that. And now I think, Taylor, you need to go back and have a listen to your discography. Remember where you came from. And don't squash people like a bug. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Nobody knows who I am, so nobody cares. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please give me any comments. I'm happy for any non-hate-filled comments. This is only love here. That's all we have. That's all I have for you. Bye.